Mhm. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy, big children and little. I am the novelist, author, poet, Lamont Anthony Wright, aka Graffiti Blue. Welcome. Live stream tonight. Happy Saturday night, man. It's the weekend, it's the holiday weekend. I hope this finds everybody well and good. Let's get right to it. Poetry slams, battle raps, and the human condition. Poetry slams, battle raps, and the human condition. Well, I get on here, and this is Just My Thoughts. Welcome to the Just My Thoughts podcast. Your boy, and I'm inspired. I was watching that RBE Max Out pay-per-view card, man, and it was freaking tough, man. Right off rip. I'm not gonna do like a battle rap recap on that joint, but a soft one. The Averb and A Ward battle was freaking crazy. The surprise battle between B Magic and Arsenal, I think is freaking classic. That is absolutely insane. Man, every Goods, the animal really he was really talking. He was really talking. Freaking Calico was definitely Calico, and Calico was in his bag, but Goods was a different animal, dare I say. Okay, but let's get right to shit. Poetry slams, battle raps, and the human condition. What I wanted to talk about basically was sometimes as an independent artist, there's this kind of internal struggle, argument, at least that I had with myself. I can't really speak for anybody else. So I've been writing, period, for a very long time. I've had a lot of adventures. I've probably on shared stages with many people you know. So if you wonder how am I somehow an authority on any of this shit, I've seen a lot of things. I don't profess to be an authority and everything, but just put some respect on on my motherfucking name. I've been here doing things at a high level for a long time, regardless of when the cameras was on or when the cameras was off. So I'm only giving you guys testimony as an artist who's seen a lot of shit, and just giving you testimony and giving you food for thought, something to think about, especially for my fellow indie artists out there that might share similar struggles as myself. And one of the struggles that I always had, because I was always this kind of under the ground guy, you follow what I'm saying? I'm always in the back, I'm always in the ciphers, I'm always on them stages or whatever, but I'm really behind the scenes, kind of coming outside basically every 2 summers, staying outside doing a big project and then going back into write. That's my cycle. That's what it is. I don't necessarily have to stay in the press. I don't have to stay with shit popping. Some shits really fucking go and I'm really moving, and some projects don't meet necessarily expectations, but every creation I'm proud of. So I'm constantly in a tug of war, or at least younger versions of myself was constantly in a tug of war between overground, pop success, and being underground. And a lot of it would kind of tell in how I perceived poetry slams and battle rap and what that all has to do with the human condition, right? Now, I talk to a lot of poets, and obviously, obviously, as a poet, I would have many poet friends, and the back room discussions with with poets that do many other things, and you would be hard pressed to find a poet that didn't do other shit. Okay, poet is just a chamber, all right, of Shaolin. It's not the complete artistic experience for many poets, but the chatter backstage, when whether it's at a poetry slam or not, when I hear poets talk about slam, the talk always seems to kind of hover around the poetry slams the appeal of the poetry slams are really the Pain Olympics. I'll say that again. The appeal of poetry slams is kind of like the Pain Olympics. Who could talk about the greatest pain they ever experienced, and who could kind of articulate that pain the best, or to crowd satisfaction, or to the satisfaction of the judges. Now, this facet of poetry slam actually bothered me pretty good. And because I'm a writer's writer, I'm a lyricist, I'm a lyrical lyricist. So I'm definitely about the substance, but does something have to really cater to pain to be artistic, to have an appeal? And that's why I tied in the human condition at the end. And I used to be like, man, is it just human nature, or is it just the human condition that we are attracted to the gladiator of the sport, where we like to see the blood or pain of the situation? Is that the only thing that we're attracted to as human beings? We're not necessarily there for the art, but we're there for the carnage. Tell me about the war, tell me about the pain, right? Is it really all about that? Or is there something else in there? Is it about the triumph? Is there something true? Is there a true element to poetry slams being the Pain Olympics? Absolutely. However, it doesn't mean because the human condition, we are attuned, right, to look at the car accident, right, to look at the blood, guts, gore, the horror of it all, right? Doesn't mean that even though we're human, it does not necessarily mean that slam poetry does not have a utility. There are many dope styles that come from the spirit of competition. Steel sharpens steel, right? Does it not? Steel sharpens steel. So no matter how ugly or whatever moral high ground you may stand on, and it very well in many instances might be the Pain Olympics, and there may be something disappointing if that's the ceiling, if that's the benchmark that we're necessarily going for. But I dare argue that there is a lot of artistry that is found into that, where people push the envelope to be more clever and be more clever and be more clever, even if it's talking about pain. Or I am sure, I have seen for myself that the Pain Olympics might be a great deal of it. I don't want to say majority, because I don't want to act like I exclusively go to every poetry slam there is. So I would be disingenuous speaking from a place that I am familiar, but not completely familiar with. I'm in many circles. I'm in hip hop circles. I'm in poetry circles. I'm in film editor circles. So I don't spend my complete time there, and I'm not saturated in the culture. But I am telling you from what I have heard, what I have experienced, what I have seen with my own two eyes, and I'm sharing a testimony of what other poets have told me in the green room. Pain Olympics, plain and simple, but it does not necessarily mean that there's no utility. So let's move forward from slam poetry to battle rap, and being in both a poet and an MC. Not much difference between the two, but that's another topic for another day. And that's just for me. Some people try to completely separate them. I'm just like, rap is rhythm and poetry. You can't avoid they are both woven together, you know what I mean? And the only difference is are subtle nuances to me. But how, as an MC, as also as a hip hop MC, how battle rap had me really with this same argument is just like, man, I've seen, especially tonight, like Goods the Animal put on an absolute clinic on how to rap. He came to rap. Shout out to Goods. I apologize for underestimating who you are. But I mean, it was a clinic in cadence and all of this. So my argument with myself used to be like, man, especially as a Black man watching a culture created by my people, it did not entirely sit well with me that we were tearing each other down in vicious verbiage. And some of some of the words are amazingly venomous. I mean, you talk about, let's go back to the gladiator sport. You talking some real gladiator shit, man. You know what I'm saying? What one battle rapper can say to another battle rapper in a battle rap arena, you basically watching it could be ugly, it could get dark, mostly, a lot. However, that does not mean, same way I talked about Poetry Slam, it does not necessarily mean, even though these two opponents are really trying to tear each other down, trying to kill. There's a reason why there is a lot of gun metaphor, explosion, dynamite, TNT metaphor, body, hearse, death metaphor in battle rap. They are really trying to kill each other for real. But the artistry that comes from combat, the artistry that comes from competition, that whole steel sharpened steel thing again, is like, man, if the popular culture as opposed to the underground, I mean, man, we know what it is, and both have their high points and low points. But it's not like battle rap does not have its utility. You know what I mean? It's really giving power again to words where a woman or man could rock a crowd with no musicians, just with an a cappella verse, just with a verse. You can captivate just with the power of the vocal between projection and cadence and wordplay and cleverness and metaphor and oh my God, just with a combination, just be a maestro. You know what I mean? Like the Pied Piper, just hypnotizing an audience of people who came just to vibe out and listen to how you put it together. For then that to be archived and be given value, it's freaking crazy. I pay-per-viewed a battle rap tonight and just listened to lyricism for like 4 hours straight. It's dope. Had a great freaking on a night in tip. You follow? It's dope. So in closing, we're talking about poetry slams, battle rap, and the human condition. And at the end of the day, when I talk about the human condition, I really want artists who are kind of torn, like I used to be. To be a better artist, try not to apologize for being human, because a lot of the adversity or darkness or perceived darkness in both modalities, be it poetry slam or battle rap, they have their utility. It really has its utility. So, although I walk in the valley of shadow of darkness, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and thy staff, thy comfort me. And this is kind of gonna lead into a spiritual discussion, whereas it really has to do what helped me really embrace all parts of the culture, whether they had light or dark in it, was faith. Was my faith, and my understanding of how God works and how the universe works. And basically, all of this is a construct. All of this is a construct of love. God tries to show us all the time that I am the light and the dark. Regardless if you're walking in the dark, well, guess what? I am that, and I am here too. So it does not necessarily, as humans, we have a choice. We are given free will, and we're given a choice on what we choose to experience. No, I mean, they're right and wrong is a perception, and it just depends on who you ask and what their fiber is, and that's probably based on what they wish to experience while they're here. But what helped me deal with the maybe darker elements of pop culture and maybe come to terms with being an underground artist was faith. That basically what is for me is for me, and what is for you is for you. And just because you're not overground doing overground popular stuff does not mean you're not fucking dope. And just because you're freaking overground and amazingly popular does not necessarily mean, or that you're super dope and all of that and talented does not necessarily mean you are living the path of a righteous man either. You know what I mean? And just because you are a gladiator in the sport does not mean that you don't walk with God either. Doesn't mean that you're not a child of God too. So, just to cope, basically what I'm trying to tell y'all is, in order to not be judged, I try to not judge myself and try to beat myself up over every little thing. And also, I practice what I preach, and I try to not judge anybody in their choices. It's their choice. If they choose to do whatever they want to do, you can just choose to not participate. Doesn't make you any better than them, and it certainly doesn't make them better